The food, the music, the vibe. Kick off your summer at the Ohio Black Expo Riverfront Culture Fest. Tell your friends, share with family. There's no other place to be Memorial Day weekend. Celebrate Black excellence.
Plus 2 concerts featuring Tidra Moses, Talib Kweli, and Jay Rawls, the one and only Marsha Ambrosius, and more.
Experience the African diaspora at its finest. So go to OhioBlackExpo.com for tickets, updates, and more. And visit OhioBlackExpo.com. That's OhioBlackExpo.com.
Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
At African Diaspora News Channel, we cover stories that don't receive mainstream attention, and we serve as the voice to the global Black community. We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media, connecting the African diaspora one story at a time.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community. Download the African Diaspora News app today.
Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard, and I'm so pleased to be with you here on African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you come in, be sure to give us a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. That way, other folks will know that we're here. And how many of you all know that matters so much, because that helps to expand our collective Black voice. And for that, we say thank you so much. Yes, let me get to where I'm going, family. I won't be long, but I will be strong. Yes, family. Now, how many of you all know that the Democrat Party, its extended liberal voting folks, including Bernie Sanders, who's technically an independent, but how many of y'all know he caucuses with the Democrats? Now, out of desperation, because they lost in such a humiliating way, thanks to us, in large part. Yes, family, they are sitting there trying to strategize. There are some Democratic strategies that said they just need to sit out and just be quiet and do nothing. There are others that sit up there crying, talking about they wake up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Remember Angela Ryan them said they get up in the morning screaming and stuff because they still in disbelief. Her other co-host said that he was in bed for some days. Child, they doing too much. The Democrats, yes. Let me get it together. I'm talking about child. That's the Mississippi in me. But that's how you know when they're being silly, because you got to treat them like that. Anyway, family, so they are just desperate. And so they're trying to recalibrate, some of them. And they're trying to figure out what to do. Yes, they're doing everything but what we told them to do. Losing, and losing some more. And they've been hard-headed. So they're out of desperation. They're trying to recalibrate. Well, their latest great white hope is Bernie Sanders. And I should say AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, before I play you this first video clip, can we put up the article reference? I just want y'all to see this. I want you to understand why I want to remind you of what Bernie Sanders has said for years and how he's trying to pivot quietly, and then also how he's pivoting publicly with these rallies. Watch this. If we can get the article up. This article is from the Guardian family, and the headline says, great. The headline says, let me pull it back up here. Here we go. The headline says what? It says Bernie Sanders and AOC's anti-oligarchy rallies show us how to defeat Trump. All right, here we go, family. So the liberal part of the Democrat Party, they said this is how they're getting ready to defeat Donald Trump right now. They're getting ready to make the face of the party Bernie Sanders and AOC. Of course, we're going to use AOC for short for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She does that, so that's why I call her that. Yes. So the subtitle says, to generate the scale of resistance necessary to win, the two Democratic socialists need to convince attenders to organize. The first paragraph talks about the fact, thank goodness Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have ignored the advice of Democratic operatives to roll over and play dead. That's what I was referring to earlier when I said some of them just said that let's just stay out of it. Their anti-oligarchy mass rallies have brought out record-breaking numbers, testifying to a widespread popular desire to fight back against Elon Musk and Donald Trump. It says, filling the void left by Chuck Schumer and his ilk, AOC and Bernie are becoming leaders not just of the leftist activists, but of the Democratic Party's mainstream liberal base. So do y'all understand? They're saying this is the Democrat. They're saying this. They the Democrats. They're the liberal wing of the Democrats, and this they represent the liberal base of the Democratic Party. That's what they're saying here, right? It says the hard question now is how to harness all this energy into a movement capable of actually defeating Musk, then Trump. Yes. Fam, I'm not about to read all this, but it goes on to talk about the billionaires, anti-billionaire climate, pro-democracy message from Bernie, Team Bernie, fighting oligarchy and all that kind of stuff, right? It goes on to talk about the fact that says since Bernie and AOC have such high profile and since America's crisis is so dire, any organized campaign they choose to boost or launch will likely go viral. Now, family, it goes on to talk about their backgrounds and all this other kind of stuff, right? Well, that's good, fam. We can take the article off if you would, because I want us to get ready to play this video in just a second. I wanted to show you that because I wanted you to see over the past few days, this is what's been going on. So the Democrat Party, members of the Democrat Party, AOC and Bernie Sanders, even though technically, his label was independent, he caucuses with the Democrats. There's this article just referenced, they about that leftist Democratic life. Yes. This is their solution because Bernie and AOC are believed to be, not as deeply entrenched as the establishment. But how many of you all know that AOC was taking her orders from Nancy Pelosi and stopped? How many of you all know that she was twitching and twirling up there during the DNC? How many of y'all know that her votes have been suspect just like Bernie Sanders when it comes down to all kinds of stuff? Now, let me tell you something. We've been giving Bernie Sanders that everlasting work for years now. Why? Do you all know that Bernie Sanders, who believes in the white working class getting all kind of freebies along with the other groups? He believes in free education. That's great. He believes in health care for everybody. That's wonderful. He believes in all of these wonderful things. I believe he believes in the increase for Social Security, all that wonderful stuff, just a bunch of stuff. Just everybody gets stuff for free. But when it comes down to the people that created America, somebody say FBAs and freedmen's, somebody say Foundation of Black Americans, somebody say us. When it comes down to freebies for us, he says no with all of the energy he can muster. AOC has been out there on a video or two, a platform or two, trying to act like she's for reparations. But I want to show you all two different pieces of evidence why we need to be suspect of both Bernie Sanders and AOC. Now, he got so much backlash, Bernie Sanders, over the past years that he, behind the scenes, kind of in a whispering, low-key way, trying to give a nod to reparations, but that's not a major part of his policy. So I just consider where he stands really to be where he told The View he stood, where he told the rest of the world he stood. And even Ta-Nehisi Coates some years back criticized Bernie Sanders for being against reparations, but he believes in freebies and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars for all this other stuff for everybody but Black folks. So do you all see the problem that we have with, I don't care if your party is Republican, Democrat, or Independent, they continue to show their disgust and their disdain for us? Watch this. Can we get ready to play this first clip? Because I want to remind you of what Bernie said when Sonny Hostin on The View confronted him about being against reparations. Watch this clip, family.
Now, the last time you ran, your poll numbers with African Americans were quite low. And you also don't support reparations for slave descendants. Why do you think your poll numbers are low, and why don't you support reparations?
Well, first of all, our poll numbers are not low. I think if you look at polls in the last 6 months, they're quite high among the African American community.
Okay.
And even in 2016, we ended up winning by good margins votes from younger African Americans and Latinos and whites. We did very well among younger African Americans. Look, I happen to believe that at a time of tremendous disparity, the wealth gap, for example, between the white community and the black community is like 10-1. Health disparities are terrible. Environmental disparities are terrible. Flint, Michigan comes to mind.
Yeah.
So I think what we have got to do is pay attention to distressed communities, black communities, Latino communities, and white communities all over this country. And as president, I pledge to do that.
Why not support reparations then?
Well, what do you mean by reparations?
By reparations for slave defenders.
I know, but what does that mean exactly?
Money.
Well, I think that right now our job is to address the crises facing the American people and our communities. And I think there are better ways to do that than just writing out a check.
Okay, family. You see Bernie Sanders? White working class, give them all the freebies to the trillions, everybody, everything. When Sonny asked him for reparations, now when she brought up the whole context of that segment is reparations, right? Watch this. He starts saying Latinos, white people too. He started naming everybody too. He wanted to ball it all up. Nothing for just y'all. Did y'all see that? And then when he said, "Now, what you mean by reparations?" She said, "Money." No, I think there's better ways. There's better ways. I just don't. No. But you believe in freebies for the school? You believe in freebies for the? You the one that stand out amongst all the other candidates. Your position is they consider you to be one of the most radical presidential campaigns in modern history because of all the freebies they say you want to give out. But the only freebie you don't believe in giving out is for black. Oh yeah, okay. So he says to the View, what? He doesn't support reparations for slave descendants because there are, quote, what better ways, he says, than just writing out checks. The better way he proposes, family, like all the others do, is everybody else got to get something too. Remember Kamala Harris? What did she say in her interview with that griot lady, reporter from the griot that's got me blocked? I'm not going to do something just for black people. She talked about her proposal that's going to help everybody. And she said, because we have such strong and large disparities, like Bernie just said, remember? He said the disparities between black folks and white folks was 10-1. He started listing climate change, health disparities, and all this stuff. They're making the case for why they should give it to just us when they say that. Y'all know that, right? When Kamala said all the stuff she wasn't going to do for us, remember, she started talking about slavery all the way up to modern day. They make the case for us why we supposed to have it. And then they cram in there they people and everybody else. Now, real quick, can we get ready to play the next video? I need y'all to keep that in your mind. Now, behind the scenes now, I'm told over the past recent months or so, the whisperings behind the scenes is, Bernie, you vote for reparations. Well, theoretically, you know, he playing with it now, behind the scenes, quiet, secretly, amongst the operatives and stuff. But is that a part of his official policy? No, of course it's not. He said it with his chest out. The little bit he can get. Let me stop. I'm being messy. The bit of his chest that he has, he said it, his chest was out. He was real strong and hard about no. He was unequivocal about no checks for y'all. And he threw everybody else in the loop, right? Well, just like him, AOC is being equivocal. She's being confusing and intentionally obscure about her position on reparations because she's been out there one time before. Yeah, for reparations. Yeah, we got to do it. But when she was asked about this a few years ago with this lady by the name of Breonna Joy, I believe Breonna Joy is an attorney. She was on one of the other platforms before, I think The Hill, because I used to watch her from time to time over there. I think they have a print publication, a video and stuff. She's not with them anymore. I believe she has her own platform and stuff. So on this video, she sits down, and I believe she has some connections to Bernie Sanders too. I don't want to give the wrong names because I think a couple of them had some sort of connections either with the campaign, whether they worked on it officially or not, but some kind of connections there. But I believe Breonna Joy was their press person or something, but don't quote me on that, but she's got some sort of formal connection with Bernie Sanders, right? Now watch this. So she knows what she's talking about when it comes down to that stuff. Well, Breonna Joy sits down a few years ago and talks to AOC's funny looking self. Now, I want to remind y'all, because see, they don't want this out. So that's why they come out, they try to come out like that wasn't really them. Watch this clip, family. Watch this clip.
what is a political cost, let's say, of saying we're going to throw your hat in with a program like reparations? How much do you think those considerations should be made?
Well, it's a good question. I think that one of the things that we've seen from early polling actually is that I think that we should distance ourselves and start getting away from this idea that we should only care about ourselves. Because when we really do start to assert and believe and understand and see how our destinies are tied, we kind of get away from this idea that only people of color care about other people of color and only white people care about other white people and so on. There are a lot of systems that we have to dismantle, but also it does get into this interesting area of where we are as a country about identity, because what does it mean to be Black? Who is Black and who isn't, especially as our country becomes more biracial and multiracial. Same thing with being Latino. Same thing, it brings up all these questions of passing and things like that. But I do think it is important that we have to have substantive conversations about race beyond what is racist and what is not. And if someone says something racist, does that make them racist? We need to get away from talking. Well, not that we have to get away from talking about racism. It's important that we talk about racism, but because we talk about racism so much, we actually aren't talking about race itself. And we aren't educating ourselves about our own history to come to the conclusions that I think we need to come to.
Okay, family, are you confused? Did you see her? First of all, did you notice her body language? Then did you see when she started answering the question, she said that we got to get away from this notion of other people of color just caring about people of color. And white folks caring about just white folks. Do y'all understand that the context of that segment, the context of the question is reparations for Black folks? That's what this is about. It's about us. She started throwing in there like it's wrong for us to be looking out for us. Why are we looking out for us? Because us is the ones that was lynched. Us is the one that built the country. Us. We're the ones that were officially slaves and property. Us. We're the ones that's codified in the Constitution as that. That's us. Do you understand? So she initially comes out as if she trying to throw shade, like something wrong with us and like we racist. Did y'all catch that? Oh, people of color only care about people of color. And then she knew that sounded stupid, so she threw out just like, oh, white people just only caring about, damn, she started going off into the other groups. Did y'all see that? And then she said, this gets us into interesting conversation about identity. No, it's not interesting. It's normal. Every day we fill out applications. Every day we check off boxes. Every day we click it. Black this for licenses, job applications, Social Security. Ma'am, this is normal. We do this all the time for all kind of just regular life. There's nothing interesting about it. It's normal and it's easy. We all know the answer to these questions. Do you all see how the Democrats and the Liberal Party always like to obscure stuff? Y'all's most favorite, most liberal people, the ones that weren't even officially Democrat establishment type people, even if they caucus with them, even if they technically identified as one, but they was always supposed to be known as the Liberal Party and the liberal element of them, they against us. Then she took it real far. She took it to astronomical levels. Next, what did she say next? She said, what is Black? Girl, if you don't sit, ma'am, excuse me, ma'am, Congresswoman, if you don't sit your funny looking self down, do you all see why we can't have, this is why it's hard to respect the Democrats and the liberals when it comes down to simple questions as boy, girl, man, woman, Black, white. Y'all are intentionally obscuring the line, amalgamating stuff. And at the end of the day, every single time, I don't care what it is, it ends up coming out to be an issue related to us in some way, form, or fashion. Talk back to me, somebody. I want you all, while they out there screaming and hollering, talking about all these massive crowds that's out there, keep in mind that the underbelly and their little rallies and stuff, they want everything for everybody but us. How many of y'all saw my broadcast some weeks back? And don't forget, you can find me here typically on African Diaspora News Channel Tuesday through Thursday live. And even if you don't film it, just always check for my content because I have content here almost every day. Yes? Watch this. How many of y'all saw me do a broadcast on AOC not too long ago where she used her office to do webinars? Where some of us are saying she essentially was teaching illegals how to break the law. That's what I'm saying that because that's what the head of the ICE czar said. She wasn't just telling these folks their rights. She was telling them what to do to evade the law. Now, why am I bringing this up? I was bringing up the fact that it talked about how she used her congressional staff to assist in all this. And I said to myself, the Democrats are always telling black folks what they can't do for us. But notice the resources that she did extend to help folks that violated the law to get here. Criminals. Did she ever open up her office to teach black folks? Well, did she say, well, even though we don't have the presidency anymore, even though we don't control both houses of Congress, hey, I'm going to open up my office. And also, by the way, she brought attorneys in for these illegals. Did y'all know that? Did she say, let me do those resources to let black folks know how they can fill out applications so they can get grants and all kinds of stuff and bring in resources and use my congressional chops to help foundational black Americans? In both cases, I want you all to remember, even when you see Bernie equivocate now trying to act like secretly, well, technically, yeah, they technically do it and stuff. But is that your policy? That's what y'all need to be asking while they out there. Woo! Bernie! AOC! Somebody put your pom-poms in the chat. Somebody put the little cheerleader horn in the chat, the emoji in the chat. While they out there screaming and hollering. Talk about the crowds. When they done screaming and hollering, we need to be screaming even louder, talking about cut the check. Where y'all stand on that? They're considered to be radicals on all these other topics, especially Bernie. Now, before I go, because I told you I won't be long, but I will be strong. How many of y'all know that when Bernie, before he was running for office, and even when he was a high-ranking, long-term senator, Bernie Sanders was a big deal with senators because he, being an independent, he was voting, he'll vote either way, but he typically voted for Democrats, right? So he's kind of down the middle on a lot of issues in all the different years that he was doing it. Now, have you all noticed that over the years, Bernie went from attacking rich people to attacking just billionaires? Y'all know why? Bernie's a millionaire. Do you all know that through his books and all that kind of stuff, Bernie is a millionaire? I believe in millions. Let me hit the gavel. I believe in millions. I'm just trying to let you all know that he wants you just to focus on the most extraordinarily rich, but Bernie is a multimillionaire right now. Don't get it twisted. Bernie's a part of that life, and he's just playing with us now on certain issues. AOC is getting little speaking engagements and stuff now. She know how to level up and get her money together. Are y'all hearing me? Bernie's policy position when he ran for president and before that, which is what made him so popular. Remember, he was destined, he was about ready to beat Hillary. Y'all remember that? How many of y'all know that he was one of a lot of the voters that voted for him, voted for Trump? How many of y'all know he was a big threat to Trump too? Talk back to me, somebody. That's why they kept trying to get him, Bernie, to get out there. But people was mad at him because he hurried up and capitulated and turned around this last time and endorsed Biden 5 minutes into the campaign. Talk black to me, somebody. Big part of Bernie's positions, policy positions, is what? Using the working class. Do you all understand that whenever Bernie in particular and other folks use the word working class, y'all know that's a synonym for white people? Do you all know that? Y'all know that when he's out there talking about the working class, that's wink wink for white people. Disproportionately. Y'all do know that. Now, y'all know that one of the many books that I quote from on a regular basis, the name of this book is called How White Folks Got So Rich. And remember, the point that we make in this book about how white folks got so rich is basically they weren't working hard. They was hardly working. We was doing all the work. And so the reason why Bernie is so famous, in my opinion, with so many so-called working class people, which are white folks, and even these obscure areas, is because white folks still got that grievance that they ever had to work. Y'all know that, right? Let's stop playing. Y'all don't work harder than black people. That was you upset because that you ever had to work. That wasn't supposed to be your destiny, remember? So that's a level of bitterness. In addition to the racial element amongst them folks, that's the fact that you ever had to work. You wasn't supposed to be doing that. That wasn't destiny for you, remember? Well, among many other things, really quick, I've talked about this before, but I want to emphasize this specifically related to where Bernie is concerned. Bernie loved them working class folks, so that's white people. He want his people to know, I got y'all. Before I give black folks anything for justice, I'm going to make sure y'all good. I'm going to make sure your Social Security good. I'm going to make sure your insurance good. I'm going to make sure that your positions with the unions are good. How many of y'all know that Bernie's big on the unions? Speaking of unions, that's what I want to talk about real quick. In this section about unions, labor unions, on page 37, it says labor unions, racial cleansing of American labor. Quickly, before I go, y'all listening? It says the labor union movement of the late 1800s has arguably done more to destroy black progress than any other known action of white people. Did y'all know that? Y'all know Vicki don't just be bamming the gavel. Vicki gonna give you receipts. Talk black to me, somebody. Keep reading, Vicki. Everybody hit that thumbs up button. Share, please. Watch this. It said what? Black progress, again, that the labor union movement in the late 1800s has arguably done more to destroy black progress than any other known action of white people, yet it is also almost totally invisible in the written histories of blacks in America. Did y'all hear that? That's why they like to control the book, so they can lie about what happened and how stuff came to be. Watch this. The union movement was specifically designed to, are y'all listening? Number one, remove blacks from their jobs in the skilled trades, which they dominated. Somebody say dominated. And somebody said, of course that makes sense, because white folks weren't working. We was the skilled ones. That's why y'all used us. That's why we keep making the case. Of course we built America. That's why you had us do it. We did what you could not. So you all just imagine, quote unquote, slavery's over, right? They allegedly, they emancipated us, right? Who are the ones that's the most skilled? Duh, of course it's us. Watch this. So what was the point of the unions? Of the top two main reasons why unions were brought into existence, what did it say? The union movement was specifically designed to remove blacks from their jobs in skilled trades, which they dominated. And number two, install in those jobs the European immigrants who were flooding America by the millions. Scholars attribute the rapid success of immigrant groups directly to the advantages they received through their memberships in American trade unions. White historians have misrepresented blacks in slavery as being mere field hands. Y'all better listen, because I gotta go. But blacks held a virtual monopoly. You know what that means, right? We dominated it. Of almost all, the book italicizes the word all there, skilled and unskilled labor. Somebody talk black to me. Somebody put FBA in the chat. They were what? The engineers, builders, tailors, shoemakers, carpenters, stonemasons, weavers, furniture and carpet makers, plumbers, painters, sailors, boat makers, carriage makers, blacksmiths, printers, and every other type of skilled artisan. Southern writer, y'all know I'm gonna always give you some receipts that you can research later. Southern writer Thomas Nelson Page, look him up, okay? Thomas Nelson Page said that after slavery, the black man was, quote, without a rival. I gotta go. In the entire field of industrial labor throughout the South, it wasn't no rival. Was without one, didn't have one, didn't it? 95%, I'm still quoting him, of all the industrial work of the southern states was in his hand, and he was fully competent to do it. Every adult was either a skilled laborer or a trained mechanic. Indeed, it was once said that if a white man were seen in public doing any form, God, today, of skilled labor, Vicki, stop laughing and read. Let me read it again so y'all can hear me. I'm being silly, but I can't help it. I'm supposed to look professional. Okay, let me take a deep breath. Indeed, it was once said that if a white man were seen in public doing any form of skilled labor, he would draw a crowd of gawking onlookers. Vicki, stop. Vicki, please. Did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch that? I gotta go. White immigrant laborers could not compete with the black worker. So the unions came to the rescue. I'm just trying to give y'all the history because Bernie know what he doing. Y'all listening? I gotta go. The most powerful union leader in America was Samuel Gompers, who led the American Federation of Labor. Who is that today, family? AFL. How many of y'all have heard of those? The AFL. How many of y'all know the Democrats love them because they typically vote for them in large numbers? Talk black to me, somebody. Y'all listening? In its formative stages, under Gompers, the AFL systematically and violently, 2 words, what? Systematically and violently carried out an occupational eviction of black workers. A common union expression was, quote, never let an end pick up a tool. That's a quote. Did you hear me? He wrote, quote, Caucasian civilization will serve notice to blacks that its uplifting process is not to be inferred with in any way. But in the turn of the century, the black man, once the predominant worker in America, was locked in the lowest wage labor or was totally jobless, forcing black women into the job market as farm workers, factory workers, and maids in white homes. The higher wages of the unionized white male relieved white women of hard labor and provided them with the leisure, time, and financing for the development of art, literature, education, and culture. Union leaders staffed the licensing and professional certification boards and funneled all employment to Caucasian laborers while denying licenses and permits to the black skilled craftsmen, further pushing black men back into dead-end, low-wage work under white authority. AFL-CIO's George Meany, president from 1955 to 1979, once remarked, quote, it never occurred to me to have an end in the union. By 1967, blacks comprised just 8% of the construction trade, unionists, and the plumbing, sheet metal, electrical, asbestos, and elevated trades had only 1,400 black members out of a membership of 330,000. Today, the weak and ineffectual anti-discrimination laws make it easy for the construction union to evade compliance with anti-discrimination laws, just as their founding father, Samuel Gompers, had intended. I got to stop. It's much more. We'll pick up later. I just want you all to know that's the energy, that's the history, and that's the system that's still in place that perpetuates this. And I know some of you all can pick out a couple of handful of black folks that actually have high-level positions in the unions, which is why they typically tend to be attacked. But I wanted you all to understand what's really going on. White folks are tripping that they ever had to work. And that's who Bernie is referring to when he's sitting up there screaming and hollering, going around the country to get all these goodies for them except for us. We're going to hold them accountable, and we're going to make it officially a part of their policy. I wanted to put that before you. Yes, baby, don't forget, tune in weekdays for my content. Look for me. Yes, even if you don't see the time, look for my content. Don't miss Brother Phil. He'll be live tonight right here, 8 p.m. Eastern. Share the broadcast and be sure to tune into my other colleagues' broadcast here. My name is Vicki Dillard. I can't wait to see you again.